You've taken from this family long enough. My dad didn't even look at me when he said it. Just stared straight ahead, like I wasn't worth eye contact. My mom crossed her arms. My sister shook her head. And my younger brother? He actually laughed. Laughed. All these years, my aunt added. And you never paid a single dollar. Not one. My throat went dry. Because I knew something they didn't. Something I had kept quiet about for years. But the way they looked at me right then, like I was a leech, a fraud, a disappointment, it almost made me break my promise. Almost. And what happened the next morning, inside that bank, would leave every single one of them speechless. My name's Ethan. And in my family, I was the selfish one. Not officially labeled like that at first. Started in small ways. A comment here. A joke there. A look that lasted a second too long. But over time it stuck. And once it did, everything I did somehow proved it. I lived in Chicago working as a financial analyst. The kind of job that sounded impressive. Until you realized it meant 70-hour weeks and a phone that never stopped buzzing. I barely had time to sleep, let alone drive out to the suburbs every other day like my brother Jake. But Jake? He was always there. Helping my parents fix things around the house. Picking up groceries. Sitting with them for hours, laughing like nothing in the world could touch him. Jake actually cares about us, my mom would say. Right in front of me. And every time, I'd just nod, forcing a smile, swallowing whatever I felt. Because arguing never helped. It only made things worse. The real pressure started when money became a problem. My parents' house wasn't just a home. It was their biggest achievement. Big, beautiful, in a neighborhood where prices had skyrocketed. But with rising taxes and an old mortgage, it was getting harder to keep up. First they just vented. Everything's so expensive now. The bank keeps calling. But slowly, those complaints turned into something else. Into expectations. Then accusations. You make good money, don't you? A little help wouldn't hurt. Or are you just keeping everything for yourself? Family gatherings, it got worse. One night, during dinner, my aunt laughed and said, Ethan's always been like this. Quiet, but not exactly generous. Everyone chuckled. Even Jake. And just like that, it became truth. But what none of them knew was that every single month, on the first, thousands of dollars left my account. Automatically. Silently. I still remember the night everything shifted. Bills were spread across the coffee table. My dad looked exhausted. The bank called again, he said. My mom sighed. We're falling behind. Jake leaned forward immediately. I'll figure something out. He always said that. Never actually did. But they believed him anyway. Then they looked at me. No words. Just expectation. Judgment. What? I asked. My dad shook his head slowly. We're not asking you anymore. Pause. We already know the answer. That hurt more than anything. Because I did help. More than they could ever imagine. But I had made a promise. And breaking it would destroy everything. A week later, everything exploded. The whole family was over. Voices raised. Tension high. And then my dad stood up, pointed at me and said, You're the most selfish person in this family. Silence filled the room. And then he added something that made my stomach drop. Tomorrow you're coming with us to the bank. I didn't argue. Because deep down, I knew something they didn't. The next morning felt heavy. No one spoke during the drive. My dad gripped the steering wheel like he was holding onto his last bit of control. My mom stared out the window. Jake sat in the back, scrolling through his phone like this was just another normal day. But it wasn't. I could feel it. Something was about to break. We walked into the bank together. Clean floors. Quiet voices. That artificial calm that somehow makes everything feel worse. My dad marched straight to the front desk. I need to speak to someone about our mortgage, he said, his tone tight. The receptionist nodded politely and asked us to wait. We sat down. No one looked at me. Not once. After a few minutes, a bank manager came out and greeted us. Mr. Carter? Please come with me. We followed him into a glass office. The kind where everyone outside can still see you, but can't hear a word. As soon as the door closed, my dad turned to me. This is where you explain yourself. My chest tightened. Explain what? Don't play dumb, Jake snapped. You've been avoiding helping for years. My mom shook her head in disappointment. We're drowning. And you just watched. I felt every word hit hard. Then my dad leaned forward. The bank told me payments have been inconsistent, he said. Late. Missing. All over the place. He pointed straight at me. And you expect me to believe you had nothing to do with that? I blinked. Wait, what? I don't understand, I said slowly. Oh, you understand, my aunt, who had somehow shown up, cut in. You probably told them you'd handle it. Then didn't. Jake laughed under his breath. Classic. My hands clenched. This wasn't just blame anymore. This was accusation. I never said I'd handle anything, I said. Then where's all your money going? My mom shot back. You earn more than all of us. People outside the glass office started glancing in. I could feel it. The attention. The judgment. The embarrassment. My dad shook his head, disgusted. You know what hurts the most? He said. It's not the money. Pause. It's realizing your own son doesn't care if you lose your home. That broke something inside me. I opened my mouth, closed it again, because if I said anything, everything would come out. Then Jake leaned back in his chair, smirking. Just admit it, he said. You've been selfish your whole life. Why stop now? Silence filled the room. Thick. Suffocating. And then, the bank manager, who had been quietly reviewing something on his computer this whole time, finally looked up. Confused. I'm sorry, he said slowly, looking directly at my dad. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Every head turned toward him. My heart started pounding, because something in his voice told me this moment was about to change everything. The room went quiet after the manager spoke, but instead of relief, I felt fear, because I knew whatever came next would expose everything. The manager looked between us. Before I say anything, I need to confirm something. My dad crossed his arms. Go ahead. But then, the manager turned to me. Ethan. Do you want me to explain this? My chest tightened. There it was. The moment I had been avoiding for years. I shook my head slightly. No. Confusion spread across their faces. Jake frowned. What is that supposed to mean? My mom looked at me like I just confirmed every bad thing she believed. See? He has something to hide. And I didn't defend myself. I couldn't. Because the truth wasn't just mine to tell. So I stayed quiet. And in that silence, they turned on me even harder. Unbelievable, my dad muttered. Even now, you won't take responsibility. Each word pushed me deeper. Doubt crept in. Maybe staying silent was a mistake. Maybe I should have told them years ago. But it was too late. Then the manager sighed and said quietly, I don't think you understand what's actually been happening here. The manager turned his screen toward my dad. Rows of transactions filled the display. Dates. Amounts. Consistent. Precise. These payments, he said slowly, have been made every single month. My dad frowned. That's impossible. We've been falling behind. The manager shook his head. No, you haven't. Not entirely. He pointed at the screen. Someone has been covering a significant portion of your mortgage for years. Silence. Jake leaned forward. Who? The manager hesitated. Then looked at me. That was enough. My mom's eyes widened. No, she whispered. I closed my eyes for a second. The promise I made years ago was breaking. Right here. I was asked not to disclose this, the manager said carefully. But given the accusations being made, he paused, then said the words that shifted everything. The payments have been coming from Ethan's account. The room froze. And for the first time, they looked at me, not with anger, but with shock. My heart dropped. 'Cause now, there was no stopping it. No, that's not possible, Jake said quickly. There has to be a mistake. The manager calmly turned the screen again. Account holder Ethan Carter. Automated transfers. Same date. Every month. My dad's face lost all color. My mom sat back slowly, like the ground beneath her had shifted. But we still got calls, she whispered. I finally spoke. Quietly. Because I wasn't paying all of it. They all looked at me. I covered what I could, I continued. Every month. For the past 3 years. My dad stared at me. Why wouldn't you tell us? I swallowed hard. Because you told me not to. Confusion again. 3 years ago, I said. When things first got bad, I tried to help. I looked at my dad. You said, if you're going to do something, don't do it for credit. Do it because you mean it. Silence. So I did, I said. No conversations. No recognition. Just help. My mom's eyes filled with tears. Jake looked away. Completely speechless now. And the late payments? My dad asked quietly. I exhaled. That wasn't me. Pause. I recently found out. Jake refinanced part of the loan under your name to cover his own debts. The room snapped. Jake froze. What? My dad's voice dropped. I didn't say anything, I continued. Because I thought you'd handle it as a family. Jake couldn't speak. Not this time. The truth had flipped everything. For years, I was the selfish one, the absent one, the disappointment. But in one moment, inside that glass office, everything changed. My dad finally looked at me, really looked at me, and for the first time in years, he didn't see a stranger. He saw the son who stayed silent and carried everything alone. I was wrong, he said quietly, and somehow, that hurt more than all the blame ever did, because it came too late. I stood up, looked at all of them, and said the only thing left to say. I hope now you finally understand.